Hey everyone. So I think a lot of us listening are probably thinking about how to get ahead in life, whether that's at work, in our relationships, or just like feeling more comfortable with who we are.
Yeah, that's such a universal thing.
Totally. And today we're going deep on something that's like the bedrock of all of that, self-awareness.
Absolutely.
We've got some fascinating material that makes the case that understanding your core isn't just some nice to have, it's like essential for any real growth,
Right.
right?
It's like the foundation you build everything else on.
Exactly. And specifically, we're going to be talking about this tool called the Rutherford-Nintel assessment, which seems to be, from what we've read, like a really deep dive into who you are.
Yeah, and what's so cool is that our sources don't just treat self-awareness as this vague idea.
Right. It's not just like, oh, be more self-aware. Like, what does that even mean?
Exactly. They present it as a real skill you can develop that has a huge impact on everything you as a person, how you lead, even how companies build teams.
That makes sense.
So, in this deep dive, we're aiming to break down those crucial pieces, show you how knowing yourself in this scientific way can actually speed up making better choices
Yeah, like make better decisions faster.
and help you find potential you didn't even know you had.
Yeah.
It's all about those aha moments, without getting bogged down in a ton technical stuff.
Right. Make it practical. So one of the things that really jumped out was this idea of personality dysphoria.
Ooh, yeah.
One of our sources uses that term, and it's pretty powerful. Like, what does that actually look like in everyday life?
So this idea of personality dysphoria is really interesting, right? It's that feeling, and I'm sure we've all experienced this, where you feel like you should be acting a certain way, maybe at work, maybe with
Because
friends.
you're trying to fit in.
Exactly, even though it doesn't feel genuine to you. And our sources are saying that this personality dysphoria is basically that discomfort, that conflict, when you're trying to squeeze yourself into a box that doesn't really fit.
You're not being true to yourself.
Exactly. And they argue that real growth comes from letting go of all those external pressures and embracing who you truly are.
Finding your authentic self.
And self-awareness is what helps you do that. It's like, as one of the sources says, that flashlight that illuminates your genuine self, it helps you understand those deep drivers behind why you do what you do.
So it's not about trying to be some ideal version of yourself based on what other people expect.
No, it's about understanding and valuing your inherent nature.
Right. And our sources talk about a ton of benefits that come with that, like practical, tangible benefits.
Oh, yeah.
So what are some of those, like, for you personally?
Well, when we look at the individual level, the sources point to some pretty amazing advantages.
Okay.
For example, when you really get a handle on your own motivations and tendencies, it's like you get this superpower to understand others better.
So it's not just about you, it helps you with other people too.
Exactly. It's like you can read between the lines better.
Yeah.
You pick up on their strengths and potential.
You become more empathetic.
Yeah, and sometimes you even see it before they do. And that naturally makes your communication stronger. You build more meaningful relationships.
Makes sense at work and in your personal life.
Absolutely. It's like this ripple effect.
So if you know yourself better, you can connect with all kinds of different people.
Right. And the sources also highlight how self-awareness helps you make better decisions.
Okay, that's a big one.
Because when your choices are aligned with what truly matters to you, your values, your passions, you're way more likely to feel good about those decisions, satisfied with how things turn out.
Because it's coming from a genuine place.
Exactly. And that builds your self-esteem, your confidence, which, no surprise, leads to more satisfaction at work.
Yeah, you're not constantly second-guessing yourself.
Right. And another crucial point they make is that this deeper self-knowledge can guide you toward careers that truly fit you, maybe open up doors you hadn't even considered.
So it's not just about feeling a bit better in your current job. It could be a total game changer.
It could be a whole new direction.
Now, thinking about leadership, how does all of this play out for people leading teams or aspiring to be leaders?
That's such a great question because the sources are really clear about the link between self-awareness and effective leadership.
Yeah. How does knowing yourself make you a better leader?
Well, they argue that a leader who's really self-aware is much better at spotting the strengths and potential in their team members.
They can see the talent around them.
Exactly. And then they can use those unique qualities for the benefit of the whole team, which naturally leads to better results overall.
It's about leveraging those individual strengths.
Exactly. And it's not just about recognizing talent, Self-aware leaders are also better at handling conflict.
Conflict is always tricky.
It is, but because they understand their own triggers and biases, and because they're so tuned in to the people they lead, they can approach disagreements in a more constructive way.
They don't let their ego get in the way.
Right, and that creates a more trusting environment for the team, which ultimately leads to a more productive and innovative workplace.
Where everyone feels valued and understood.
Exactly, where people can be themselves and do their best work.
So self-awareness seems crucial, both for individual well-being and for being a great leader.
Absolutely foundational.
And a key part of all this in our sources is this Rutherford-Intel approach. So what is it, and what makes it different from all those other personality tests out there?
What stood out to me is that Rutherford-Intel is presented as a tool that's backed by science and used by huge global companies.
It's not just some fun quiz you take online.
Exactly, and the sources are careful to distinguish it from what they call superficial or pseudoscientific models.
So they're saying it's the real deal.
Yeah, and a big difference is that it's based on identifying multiple distinct personality types.
Not just putting you in one or two broad categories.
Right, it's more nuanced than that. And the assessments are based on evidence with the goal of giving you really clear, actionable insights.
Insights you can actually use to make changes.
Exactly, that's what's key.
So how does Rutherford-Intel achieve that scientific rigor that the sources are talking about?
Well, they highlight the fact that it uses sophisticated statistical analysis and a massive amount of data.
We're talking big data here.
Millions of data points.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows them to identify 12 distinct personality archetypes with a really high level of accuracy.
So 12 different archetypes based on all that data.
That's what they say sets it apart from those more subjective or less data-driven approaches.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more substantial than a lot of those quick online tests.
Uh-huh.
So if someone listening were to take this Rutherford-Intel assessment, what are some real-world outcomes they could expect?
The potential benefits are pretty wide-ranging according to our sources.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, you could gain insights that help you make smarter choices in your personal life, things like relationships, but also in your professional life, things like career moves.
It covers both personal and professional.
Exactly. It's holistic. And that could mean becoming more effective in your current role, developing stronger leadership skills, communicating better, even building deeper, more fulfilling personal relationships.
So it touches on a lot of different aspects of life.
The ultimate goal is to boost your overall well-being and satisfaction.
Feeling more content with your life.
Exactly. And the sources also talk about how it can be especially helpful for navigating big life decisions.
Like when the stakes are higher.
Exactly, like making a major career change. When you have a clearer understanding of your core personality and what really drives you, it gives you a much better foundation for weighing different options and making choices you feel good about.
You're not just going with your gut, you have some data to back it up.
Right, and it can also help you see things from other people's perspectives, which strengthens all your relationships.
So it's about understanding yourself and others.
Exactly, it's like a double win.
One of our sources quotes Dr. Larry Cash, who says, "Only individuals who are exceptionally suited for what they do and possess an intense love of their work achieve exceptional results."
That's a powerful quote.
It is. So how does Rutherford-Intel connect to this idea of finding success and fulfillment in your career?
It really speaks to the importance of aligning your natural strengths and passions with your professional life.
Right. Doing what you're actually good at and what you enjoy.
Exactly. And our sources explain that if you're constantly battling against your natural tendencies, it leads to stress, burnout. You're just not happy. But when you embrace those tendencies, that's when you feel energized and have a sense of purpose.
You're in your element.
Rutherford-Intel is like that compass that helps you find your true north, so you can steer your career in a way that feels authentic.
So how does the assessment actually help you pinpoint those ideal career paths?
What's really fascinating is that Rutherford-Intel claims they can actually identify suitable industry sectors for you based on data.
So they're not just giving general advice, they're getting specific.
Right. They provide benchmarks for a whole range of fields. Project management, finance, accounting, marketing, sales, HR, engineering.
So they have data on all sorts of different fields.
It's not just about what you might find interesting. It's about where your personality type is statistically likely to thrive, based on data from successful people in those fields.
Yeah, data-driven career advice.
Exactly, which is pretty unique. And one source asks this really thought-provoking question: why do only a few careers align with your passions and financial aspirations out of 2,500 options?
Out of 2,500. That's a lot of
It
options.
is, and I think that question highlights why so many people feel stuck in their careers.
They haven't found the right fit.
Exactly. And our sources suggest that a big reason for that is a lack of real, accurate self-knowledge. And that's what Rutherford Intel aims to provide.
The deep understanding of your true you personality.
So you can narrow down those 2,500 options to the few that truly align with what you love and what you want to achieve financially.
And ultimately lead a more fulfilling life.
Absolutely. It's about that big picture happiness.
It sounds like there's a lot of serious science behind all this, so can you give us a peek into the methodology? They mentioned something called a periodic table of personality factors, which sounds intriguing,
Yeah, that analogy to the periodic table is really helpful.
like the one from chemistry class.
Exactly. The sources explain that just like the periodic table identifies the basic building blocks matter, there's this periodic table of personality traits with 85 natural traits.
So they're breaking down personality into its fundamental elements.
And then those traits interact and combine to form broader personality factors, just like atoms combine to form molecules.
So it's a really granular, foundational approach.
Exactly. It's about getting to the core of who you are.
And what about the statistical side of things? The sources talked about a high level of accuracy.
They emphasize the robust statistical methods that Dr. Cash developed, and they claim an accuracy rate of 85%, which is impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
And they even say that this level of precision beats over 99% of other personality assessments out there.
So it's not just accurate, it's highly accurate.
Which is why Rutherford Intel has been used in some pretty high-stakes environments.
Like where?
Like the C-suites of major corporations, pro sports teams, military special forces, even the Air Force for identifying potential elite pilots.
Wow, so it's been tested in some really demanding settings.
It's definitely not just a theoretical tool.
Now, it's not just about taking a test and getting a report, right? Our sources talk about an app and a sense of community.
Right, it's more than just a one-time assessment.
So how do those elements fit in?
The app is like your personal tool for exploring your self-awareness even further.
You can dig deeper into the results.
Exactly. It helps you identify your strengths, areas where you can grow, and it gives you personalized guidance.
So it's tailored to you specifically.
But it's not meant to be a solo journey. The sources really emphasize the importance of community.
Connecting with others.
Yeah, they talk about collective wisdom communities organized around personality quadrants, as well as more focused communities based on specific roles or industries.
So you can connect with people who are similar to you or who work in the same field.
Exactly. And they also mention TalentNet, which seems to be a platform for top performers to connect with potential employers.
That sounds interesting.
And there's even a community focused on work-life balance and wellness, tailored to different personality types.
So it's a whole ecosystem designed to support you.
It's about taking a holistic approach to personal and professional growth.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and think about businesses. How does Rutherford Intel benefit employers when it comes to hiring and developing their workforce?
That's a great question because the sources present it as a really valuable tool for employers.
How so?
Well, they say it can help companies identify top performers more accurately, which can really reduce employee turnover.
Saving them time and money in the long run.
Exactly, and it can also be a key part of succession planning, helping organizations spot those high-potential leaders early on.
So they're not just filling positions, they're building for the future.
Right, and it also provides insights into how to tailor work strategies for different work environments, remote, hybrid, on-site, by understanding the preferences and potential of their employees.
So they can create a work environment where everyone can thrive.
Exactly. It's about optimizing for both the individual and the organization.
And for employees within those companies, how can Rutherford Intel help them with their careers?
It can give individuals a lot more clarity about their career trajectory.
Helping them figure out what they want to do and how to get there.
Right. It provides insights into potential paths for advancement and a deeper understanding of what they need to develop as leaders.
It's like a personalized roadmap for their career.
And it can also help them figure out which work environments they're most likely to succeed in.
Finding the right company culture.
One of the sources even shared an example of a startup that saw a big jump in productivity just by focusing on hiring people who were a good fit for the roles.
So it's a win-win for both the employer and the employee.
Absolutely. It's about finding that alignment.
Now, our sources also mention leadership diagnostics. What's that all about?
So the leadership diagnostics are specifically designed to assess someone's leadership qualities.
to see if they have what it takes to be a leader.
Right. But it's not just a pass-fail thing. It identifies both their strengths and areas where they can grow.
So it's about understanding their leadership potential.
And the sources point out how important this is in today's business world, which is constantly changing and super complex.
It's what they call VUCA. Right?
Exactly. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. That kind of environment requires leaders who are adaptable and can think on their feet.
So the diagnostics are tailored to that kind of environment.
They delve into different leadership styles for the C-suite, for operational roles, for entrepreneurial ventures, and they even provide benchmarks based on company size.
So it's pretty nuanced assessment.
It takes all those different factors into account.
And finally, we have personality diagnostics and this idea of taking charge of your career. How do those fit together?
The personality diagnostics are all about empowering you to understand your potential compared to top performers in your field.
So you can see where you stand.
It highlights your areas of excellence, your core capabilities, and where you have opportunities to grow.
So you can focus your development efforts.
Exactly. And the sources emphasize that this program provides personalized guidance, access to experts, and practical strategies, all confidentially.
So you have support along the way.
The goal is to give you the tools and knowledge to take control of your career, no matter where you are in your journey.
It's about being proactive and making choices that are right for you.
Exactly. It's all about empowerment through self-awareness.
It really does seem like that's the overarching theme here.
The sources consistently come back to this idea that self-awareness isn't just a nice bonus. It's essential for a fulfilling and successful life.
Both personally and professionally.
Absolutely. It affects everything.
So for those listening who are thinking about their own path, whether it's a career change, improving their relationships, or just getting a better sense of who they are, what's the key takeaway from our deep dive today?
I think the main message is that tools like the RutherfordINTEL assessment offer a really powerful and efficient way to achieve that deep self-understanding.
It's like a shortcut to making better decisions.
And it's backed by data, so you can be confident in the insights.
That's a really empowering message.
It is. It's about taking control of your future.
So here's something to think about. How might a deeper understanding of your own unique personality unlock career paths and relationships you haven't even imagined yet?
That's the exciting part.
What questions about yourself might you finally have answers to? It's definitely something worth exploring. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
See you then.